The irony is, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to chat about the breathing. I got more important stuff to chat about, which is real. But I wouldn't have been able to talk about it in this calm manner if I hadn't discovered the breathing, because it's quite overwhelming in the world. And it makes everyone want to go. Once we learn to not breathe that way, it comes to our belly, just gives us a bit of space. So when we're in our heads, in our stories, we're not in the room, we're not in our environment. And when we're not in the room and not in our environment, we're doing shallow breathing, holding our breath, and we're missing all the communication we're getting from our environment, which comes through our body. But because we're disembodied from our body, we're in our heads, we're not actually picking up cues from what we like, what we don't like. Consciously breathing, we develop a relationship with ourselves, with our body, and then through that we are able to interpret what's going on in the world, and we start to notice, I don't like going into noisy spaces. I actually don't like that person that much. It doesn't make me feel very nice. This food doesn't make me feel good. When we start to really pick up on the subtle cues in our environment, and that's, like I said, that's when we start to respond to life rather than react. Embodiment is, like, as you said that, I've literally felt my hip wind up, and it's coming into our bodies and feeling our aches and our pains in our bodies. If something doesn't feel very nice, we get a gut feeling, It's really interpreting and listening to the message which our body is giving us. It can be quite painful. People say I want to be grounded. Once we breathe, we access our body, we access our felt sense, our emotional body, and it's quite painful to be in our body because we've been in our head our whole life. But when we come into our body, feel our body, we then start to let go and release things which our body has stored, archived emotions. We can say trauma. No one wants to say that word, I don't know why. It can be from anything to everything. Our body can't process it at the time. So it's not the event that happened, it's just the way our body processes the traumatic event. And because we've never been taught how to process an event, which is overwhelming, our body stores onto that. What really drove this home to me was when I started reading Peter Levine's work. He has an example where it really shows how we store our cortisol and our adrenaline, which is produced naturally when we need it. A leopard's chasing a gazelle, top speed. The gazelle managed to escape. Gazelle then goes into a bush, into safety, lies down and shakes off all that adrenaline, all that cortisol, everything it needed to escape that life-threatening situation. People think that isn't relevant to us, but it is, because the simple act of being on your phone, that's quite overwhelming because we're getting bombarded with information. We're watching a movie, checking YouTube, ordering some food, shopping, we're sat down, we're not belly breathing. Everything is like, we're a gazelle permanently running around, all this cortisol, adrenaline. So yeah, we need to learn how to dump that adrenaline and cortisol and first be aware of it, not demonize it, and then release it. Yeah. Well, that's a pendulum of breathing. It goes from help you sleep better, improving your gut health massively when you start to belly breathe, because as you start to belly breathe, all our organs start to be massaged. And when we're in our fight or flight, no blood is going to our belly. And because we're permanently in our fight or flight, because as a society, we've not been taught how to not be in a reactionary state. When we start to breathe into our belly, all our gut issues subside. Becoming embodied, realize what aches and pains, what chronic pain you have, because a lot of people don't realize we're carrying chronic pain, to unresolved life experiences which are stored in our body, to ancestral stuff. Maybe I'll put that in. Well, what happens after people come for the introductory session and I check in with them a couple of days later and I say, how's your breathing? And for a lot of them, they've never actually consciously thought about their breathing. And they go, oh yeah, I hold my breath a lot. And when this person talks to me, I'm like, so we just got no breath awareness because, like I said, we're in our heads and we're just like frantically going through life. This is why I love it, is because it changed my whole life. It enabled me to come into me, into my body, into my emotions, into my feelings, and move around the world in a calmer way. Myself personally, I was so emotionally closed and not present for any sort of introspection that involved painful emotions. And that's why I love breathwork, because it's like a Trojan horse. I did it because I wanted to have altered states. I wanted to sleep better. Before you know it, you're realizing the stuff that you need to sort out. And that's why I think it's really great for men, because it gives you all the physiological benefits, mental benefits, emotional benefits. And guys come to me for that, and then a couple of sessions in, they're like, oh, then this happened in my childhood. And I'm just like, yeah, that's amazing, we're here, right? It's good to feel your emotions. But as men, we're taught not to do that and to push them down. We need to be emotional beings, right? Emotional health is mental health. That's what I think mental health is. It's emotional health. And we can only get mental health through emotional health. We can only get emotional health by coming into our body. And we can do that through movement, breathing, weights. And I've done all of those, yoga, and nothing is more powerful than breathing, because you consciously have to engage with it, which is why I think it's really good for men, because it's like, it's a doing, it's a real masculine act. The benefits I see are more profound. I mean, it's profound with a majority of clients, but more with men, because they're suddenly allowed to come into this space of feeling feelings with another bloke. I'm just a normal bloke, right? It's like, oh yeah, it's okay. And I feel good for like releasing that. And why that's never been available to me? Because we need to be emotionally strong to be strong, right? Feeling emotions is painful, and the ego doesn't want to feel pain. That's why we got our addictions, our distractions. I'm not demonizing those. Everyone's got it. I mean, society's been built that way, right? To keep us not from feeling our feelings. We haven't been taught it. It hasn't been passed down from our parents, our grandparents, our school systems. It's really an inside game. Like mental health, emotional health is an inside game, which is a kind of joke I say. Because once you know, it's all down to you. It's like, it's quite scary. It's like, well, that's really empowering. And just having the tools to navigate that is what we need. Yeah, there's this crazy Dutch man screaming, breathe, motherfucker. And getting us to breathe and go in cold water. I thought it just really appealed to me. It really spoke to me. And I tried a YouTube 2-minute clip guided session. And yeah, I did not enjoy it at all. It brought up so much anger and rage that I didn't want to do it again. And all day it kept coming back to me. Also, I felt amazing afterwards, which is a paradox of breath work. I was like, oh, if something I'm pushing against that much, I know I need to do it. Went to a breath festival, the breath festival in the UK. It was so profound that I spoke to the facilitator afterwards, and she explained what was happening, why it was happening, and what I could expect if I was to continue with that practice. And I was all in. I came home, whatever savings I had, I scraped together, sold some surfboards, and started my training. And which I thought would be cool, thought would be quite good fun. I didn't realise that I'd be doing all the inner work, going through that process. And that's when the shift happened. Peeling off layers of stored emotions, right? Just layer upon layer upon layer, like an onion. You peel that one, another layer, another layer. What breathing has done has enabled me to, it comes back to being embodied and feeling how I feel in the environment I'm in, and realising a lot of the thoughts were not my thoughts. They were just thoughts that I'd picked up along the way. So I was just this disembodied head with all these other thoughts in, and I can actually come into my body and realise what was my actual values from how they made me feel. What thoughts? What the fuck, you know? I want to say programming, but it's what your mum said to you, what your school said to you, what your church said to you, what the commercials say to you, what the marketing people say to you.
4 great ways to lose weight with thrifty new Plan, the Dairy Delightful Liquid Dietary. But I like to eat. Still, you'd like to lose weight.
That's it. Films, music, and it's not until we individuate from that we start to become who we are. Otherwise, we're just this shell walking around, ping pong machine, just being bounced around from one thing to the other. Breathing to deprogram yourself from conditioning of society. I want that to be my first video that goes out, just that statement. But essentially the more we come in touch with ourselves, come into our body, into our feelings, interacting with the environment through our feelings, we start to leave behind everything we thought that was us, which is not, it's just noise from education, religion, marketing, consumerism. It's just noise. My unintegrated past was making me who I was in the present. It wasn't until I realized the connection between those two, because I wasn't a very happy person. I was angry, belligerent, all the other things. And I was like, oh, okay, it was actually my life experience which made me that way. And then I started to see other people not as annoying. I started to see them as, oh, they've got a backstory, right? We've all got backstories. So it just really enabled me to have compassion for people and meet them where they're at, rather than being judgmental. I mean, don't get me wrong, if someone's a knobhead, you don't hang around with them. But it's okay, right? Because we've all been knobheads. That's all right. But it doesn't mean we have to hang around that person. But it doesn't mean we have to beat that person up in our heads because they're that way because of whatever happened. So for me personally, it enabled me to be more compassionate to everybody because I stopped judging myself, started to love myself, and enabled me to love other people. And that was through coming to myself through breathing. So a session it's for an hour, but we breathe for 45 minutes. We breathe lying down or sat up, depends where your breath is in your body. We breathe through music, and depends on what stage of the breathing journey you're on, as in tempo and speed. That's it, really. That's kind of it. If you want to be more in tune with your emotions, want to be more in tune with your authentic self, you want to have more compassion for other people, better sleep, better digestion. I know I'm just talking rubbish. Then come and breathe. I don't know, I'm getting quite tired of this now, to be honest. I'm literally feel myself shutting down.
That's okay.
I would like to do it again though. I would very much so. So we can stop now, that'd be great, because I can literally feel myself shutting down. And 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to felt that. I'd have been pushing on through, but I can literally feel my body telling me now, well, we need to stop this now. That's embodiment. That's listening to ourselves. Is that cool?
Yeah.
That's gold, that.